Hello, everyone. This is episode 2 of Drop a Line. Thank you so much for anybody that listened to the first episode. And the first one, we said that we were hoping for over single digits, or we predicted that we would have single digits. We actually got 38 views, so all of you guys, thank you very much. This episode is going to be split into 2 parts, dropped on separate times. The first part is going to be sports-oriented, and the second part will be more of the politics-based stuff. So we will be going over the Super Bowl, the Olympics, the Russian cheating scandal, and then for the politics, no-knock warrants, inflation crisis, and the Remington suit. So for this episode, we will be talking about sports, and I will send it to Casey if he wants to start about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, first off here, I gotta say, I nailed my prediction. I mean, you were sitting here telling me you were taking, were you taking Rams money line?
No, I took you did
Took
not
Bengals.
Nail
said,
your prediction is strong.
No, because I said Rams are 4. I said I'd take the Bengals +4. It leaves in the field goal there.
Yeah. Yes.
Left in the field goal, 23-20 Rams.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Too bad I didn't take that bet because I'm a moron. But yeah, nailed it. Unfortunately, I was cheering for the Bengals, so that was a little disappointing.
Yeah, good old Cooper here. I think it's about 7 minutes into the fourth quarter. Bengals were up, and my parlays weren't hitting. Bengals were up, and I was real confident Bengals were going to win. So I put a $100 bet on Bengals money line. It was going to pay out 50. Yeah, if anybody watched the game, they know how that panned out. So I'm hurting. So I gotta make a comeback here with my $20 left in my account. So we'll see how I do here.
Yeah, I made out all right. I was just doing live betting here and there, just throwing random money back and forth because they had all those extras and bonuses throughout the game. So I think I made up about $90 on the night. It went up. So this is the highest my account's ever been. So about to lose it. About to go on a cold streak.
Well, I will say something we can claim together is we called it Bengals have no effing O-line. Burrow sacked 7 times. Last play of the game, Jamar Chase leaves Jalen Ramsey's jockstrap on the turf. He's on the ground, and Chase is running wide open down the sideline, but that doesn't matter because Aaron Donald got to him, and they were doing that all game. And I think I saw Burrow was on all of his pass attempts. He was pressured 43 times.
Yeah.
You got to feel for the guy. And I know they made it to a Super Bowl, but they have like an incredible amount of cap space left. So they're going to be okay, I think. You would think in this draft, and they would try to go after some O-linemen because they got a decent amount of weapons, but that O-line, I mean, I almost feel bad for the O-linemen because they're just so outmatched all year. I mean, I know they're working hard, especially in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's the biggest game of their life, but they still got bullied. They're just outclassed.
Well, I think I saw they had 2 backups in on the same side of the line as well. I want to say it was the right side.
Yeah, that doesn't help. That's
that
for
does
sure.
not help. I mean, that's like going from suck to stink.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have to figure something out about that. Did you watch the commercials?
I could care less about the commercials, to be honest. Ever since they aren't funny like they used to be. Like everything's so PC anymore. It's not very fun.
Do you have well, that is one thing. Just a little smidgen of politics that we'll go into this one. Politics will be in the next episode, like I said. It does seem that there are commercials that try to lean a certain way, and that's just not exactly entertaining and what their purpose is. But do you have any past favorite commercials that you liked?
Oh, I can't remember.
I got one in mind. So
the one that came to my mind was that one where that guy, there's that little pug outside, and it's running like slow motion towards the screen door. It's like a closed window door.
Okay.
And the guy's standing on the inside taunting the dog and eating Doritos, and the dog just trucks through the window door and it just smokes the guy.
Mine actually is Doritos too.
Doritos is solid.
There was this kid, and it was like he had a single mom. Mom got a boyfriend, and the boyfriend was like trying to be like cool with him. And he got on the couch. He's like, "Oh, what's up, little man? You want to play some like probably PS3 at the time, maybe PS4, maybe. And the little kid had Doritos in his hands, and the new boyfriend tried to grab Doritos, slapped the guy in the face. He said, "Keep your hands off my mama and keep your hands off my Doritos."
Okay, I remember that one.
That was a damn good commercial.
The Doritos ones just completely took over the sentimental Budweiser ones
100%.
for like the best commercials. Like those are always heartfelt and cool.
Yeah, yes.
But I mean, humor trumps everything, so you got to go funny.
I'll be
I also like the one with the little kid who was playing Darth Vader, and he was like sending out the Force.
Yeah.
And suddenly his dad starts the car from inside and scares the crap out of the kid.
I tried my best to focus on the game, but once commercials hit, that was time to hydrate as hard as I could until the game got back on. So,
Yeah, that's a good policy. How about your fellow brother, your Cooper brother, getting MVP?
like I said, absolute fantastic first name.
Well deserved.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think it does give it a little bit more of another thing for Stafford to do, though, because obviously Cooper Kupp gets MVP. He's a stud, man. I mean, you go on, if you guys are betting people, that's a lock every single game for a touchdown almost. I don't know if he scored a touchdown in every game, but it's got to be close.
This year it was up there. He had a couple dry spells there, but for the most part he was automatic every week, 100 yards, touchdown.
And there's not a lot of receivers that for anytime touchdown scores are minus odds. And that's him almost every week. I think he was actually plus odds this week.
It was plus 100.
Yeah, which is just insane. I will give a little shout out to my girlfriend. She got FanDuel. She had it before, but we set it up this weekend before, and she put $10 in, and then she put one bet on the first touchdown scorer, and she picked Odell, and Odell scored. So she got a crisp little $50 for that $5 bet, and then I think she had some $5 parlay later that didn't hit, but she got $5 back in store credit. So she's riding high. I wish I did that well.
Yeah,
So that was not me.
that'd have felt nice with your $50.
Yeah, that definitely would have. Yeah, like we said, man, I think it all came down though to the O-line. I'm not here to act like I'm a football expert, but I think that's kind of been a story all year. So
I'm surprised you haven't brought it up because I know you're huge on it. The halftime show.
I was. All right, personally, I had this weird little phase, probably about like eighth to 10th grade, where like all I listened to was like Biggie and Tupac, NWA.
That was your gangster phase.
No, I'm still a gangster, but you know how it is. I just listen. I don't even know why, to be honest. My dad listened to rap a little bit, but it was more like Beastie Boys and stuff like that. So it wasn't ever that stuff.
That's the good stuff. Right
Beastie
there.
Boys still smacks. But,
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but I thought the halftime show was good. Snoop was just cripping all over the place. That was something. But when I was watching it, I thought it was perfect. I would have to rewatch it to talk about like specific parts, but I wish Eminem performed a song that like incorporated Dr. Dre, because he is the one that's forgot about Dre. And then I thought the one that would be super sick is if Eminem started with "I Need a Doctor" and then Dr. Dre came on and then Snoop came in. But I don't think they were trying to make Eminem the main focus. I also thought Kendrick's song choice was odd, but that's just me.
Yeah, and Mary J. Blige didn't really fit into the equation on that either. She was just kind of there, and then she was very obviously lip syncing it.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a great performance on her part.
Yeah, that was. I mean, she has cannons of voice, but
Yeah.
It did seem a little misplaced. But we'll say when I was watching it, I thought it was good, but I did manage to see a little bit of that, and I did think that was a little. I'm not gonna say it was bad, but I will say it definitely wasn't the highlight of the halftime show. But Casey had. What was your theory of what they should have added?
Oh, I mean, this was probably a B plus performance. It gets bumped up to a solid A plus maybe. If Biggie somehow is out there singing Big Papa,
Oh yeah.
great song, fits very well. I mean, that brings the house down. It's Biggie. Come on.
Well, what I was telling Casey, they did something with Pac with that earlier, where he came in with like a hologram, and it was a Snoop, I think. But if they would have gone Biggie and Tupac holograms, that would have been absolutely insane. You also said that you wanted some rock bands in there, though.
I just love rock and roll. I could
Yeah.
have gone for just any rock band, and my life would have been complete. Like, oh my gosh! Like if they would have just brought out like an AC/DC type of thing and just played like Thunderstruck, and I mean, for those about to rock, we salute you. I mean, you start playing some of those, that place would just erupt.
Yes.
That's stuff like everybody knows. It's not it because like this rap stuff kind of it focuses on. It's got its people, but like some of those big rock songs, like everybody knows those.
I think what they did hit with the rap though is it definitely hit a lot of people in the nostalgia area.
Yeah.
I think obviously Snoop's a household name, Dr. Dre is a household name, Eminem obviously. So I think that was good, but I have seen fusions of like rock and rap that.
Oh yeah.
I could have seen it. All right, let's talk about the Rock's. Did you catch that? The Rock's little pregame spiel.
I was on the grill. I was on the grill at that time doing some burgers and brats, so I didn't get to see any of that.
Now, first off, that guy's absolutely ginormous. I thought it was entertaining, but I also kind of didn't really understand the point of it. I like The Rock. I think he's funny, but yeah, it just seemed kind of odd to me. One thing I think I said in the group chat was, no, maybe I just told this to my other Iowa football fans. George Kittle plays for the 49ers, and he's like a giant WWE The Rock fan. And I think that would have been cool if he would have been there. But it seemed kind of odd. I think it did breathe a little bit of life into the stadium. Not that it needed it, considering it was in LA. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of strange. But overall, I mean, it was a good game. I wish the Bengals won because they would have won me some money, and I wanted the Bengals to win because I like Joe Burrow. But I think they'll be back. I thought it was probably the best postseason of football that I've ever witnessed. I mean, the upsets, the overtime games, how close the games were. I mean, there was that stretch where it was Bills Chiefs, and
That was
was
insane.
it Rams Bucks? Was that the game that was before it, or was that even the day after? Was it Rams Bucks Bills Chief?
Yep.
You
Those, nailed it.
I mean, that's
Those
first-
were like we hung out and watched the first game,
yeah, yep.
and we were like, that's one of the best games I've ever seen. And the Chiefs Bills said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, and
And then and then we were talking. That trumped it. That turned into the best game we have ever seen.
And that's like a parlay. Like, I mean, I feel like I've said it like 12 times, but if you're a betting person, you know you can take one game, two games that are both heavy favorites, and put them together, and they get a lot less favored because two things in a row are not supposed to happen like that. To be able to witness those two games in a row is incredible. A lot of the playoffs games are that way too. I mean, it was just a great playoff. So I hope that next year's like that. And I wish that college football could get something like that when it comes to playoffs, but that's a topic for another time.
Yeah.
Next topic, do you have something?
We'll cover college football hierarchies with Connor Green one of these
Yes.
days. He is that guy.
Should I talk about the Iowa football now? Or?
Yeah, go ahead. You can talk about their shitty quarterback system that they have going on.
All right, so I'm going to try to make this quick. Iowa quarterbacks coach Ken O'Keefe just resigned. His contract was not up. The program said that they were going to honor his terms on his contract. But if there's a term in there that says that he was going to resign, he wouldn't get money. That doesn't mean they're going to pay him. We don't know the terms of his contract. I think he's been in the sport of football coaching for like 45 years. I mean, I think he's definitely in his upper 60s, maybe even 70 at this point. He said that his reasoning was that he wanted to spend long overdue time with his wife and family.
Oh, so his wife was about to leave him, and he was like, all right.
It's a little Tom Brady situation, if you ask me. But
It is what it is. Except nobody calls him the GOAT.
Yeah. But, I mean, all the respect to him, I will say, I have two thoughts of this. The one thought is, I hope that he went out on his own terms because I do respect him. Because he was there in the early 2000s, late 90s when Iowa football was doing real good things. And on my other hand, I also kind of hope that it was a little push out by Ferentz and co. because it's definitely time for a change in the quarterback room and offense in general. I mean, I'm not going to get into this whole year, but basically defense was absolutely great. Offense was dog shit. I mean, there's not really another way to put that.
Yeah, no downfield presence on the receiving core.
No, and it's like Petra's. It's hard. It was hard to tell, and something that I had a hard time kind of formulating was obviously good players can have bad games, and everybody recognizes that. But it's harder to recognize when a bad player has a bad game, if that makes sense. Petrus had a really bad game in the Kentucky game because he did throw the ball downfield relatively well, winning at time. He's just a straight statue in the pocket. So, in our line, Iowa's line's not great. So he had a lot of pressure, and he had just zero ability to escape that. A couple quarterbacks coming in. Marco Lainez, I believe, New Jersey recruit in 2023. He's a 4-star, and he seems to be a little bit more athletic. I think that could obviously benefit us. I don't think Alex Padilla is the move, but I mean, we'll see. I think either Petrus or Padilla will leave after spring practices and spring camp because I just don't think the Bulls stay. But I don't know where they're going to go, especially if it's Padilla because he doesn't have any game experience.
They'll probably go to like the MAC or some like Kent State, what's up, or something stupid like that.
Well, and that's like Deuce Hogan left, and he had his reasons that we won't get into. I won't talk about Deuce, but I will talk about his mom. If you guys know the situation, let me just run through it real quick. Basically, before the Nebraska game, both Iowa's quarterbacks, Spencer and Alex, had the flu, and Kirk, in a post-game conference, said, yeah, if it was Deuce, which was the third-string quarterback at the time, if it was Deuce, I would have probably stayed in Iowa City. Pretty shitty comment to make. I thought it was kind of funny. It was in jest. I think right immediately after he realized it, he did apologize. Deuce hit the transfer portal. His mom posted like a 5-paragraph Facebook post about how awesome her son is. Pretty soft. I don't know if he wanted her to do that. Obviously, don't know that. Maybe he's really embarrassed too. But Deuce transferred, and now he's walking on and paying for college out-of-state tuition at Kentucky. So that's kind of what you risk when you hit the transfer portal. So
yeah, good luck with that, pal.
Yeah, so that's all I really have to say about that. Let's get into some Olympics, and we will start with the men's hockey game last night.
Yeah, that was a doozy of a game. I mean, our young talent was there. That's what it was. We were young, we were talented, but we played a much more physical team. We played a team constantly on the forecheck. I was talking to you the whole game. They were constantly on our D-men. We're up there making changes in the forward groups, getting out fresh legs. And they always have a pest back there chasing us down back to behind the net. They were putting us back there so they could get change on the forward too. And they were pressuring. They were constantly pressuring. They were keeping the puck in our zone. We could never get, like, I counted 3 or 4 times where we were in their zone for longer than a minute, not including power plays. But we were only there, like, hardly at all. And they spent most of the time on our side of the blue line. It was insane.
They were playing PKs like they were power plays.
Mm-hmm.
PKs are penalty kills. But during the PKs, they were, a puck squirts loose at all, and they're charging at it. And there was times where we had odd man rushes, and I'd say we were more talented, and individually we're more skilled. We weren't exactly, I don't think, clicking on full cylinders last night. There was a lot of pucks slipping off sticks and passes not exact. There was a lot of times where we would try to drop it back to somebody and there wouldn't be anybody there. And one thing I do want to say, I don't think this has anything to do with overlooking an opponent or something like that. They were playing their asses off. Yeah. I just think that they're young and that the other team just seemed to be more of a unit. And I I just don't understand how you don't put the puck in the net once on a five-man penalty shot or shootout. Sorry.
You can call the kettle black on this one. I mean, they said our guys they had 5 practices before they were able to leave because they've been playing college puck, and some of the guys were in some semi-pro and minor league teams, and so they had 5 practices together, and then they had 3 games. One of them being a classic tune-up game with China. So they started off slow on that, and then they picked up steam. So obviously, that helped. I mean, if we start out with Canada or Germany early on in the preliminary rounds, we're probably dropping one of those games. But we picked up a lot of chemistry in that China game.
And you look at even the China game, I'm pretty sure it was only 1 rip at the end of the first period.
Yeah, it was 1-0, and then I think we got 3 or 4 in the second. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just they're just young guys. I think I told you last week. I mean, it was going to be something to watch. I was really surprised when we came out 3-0 after the preliminaries. But yeah, Slovakia played really well. It was nice to see them. I'd love to see them get an upset next round. I think they've got Russia maybe. Or no, they'll play Finland because Finland would be the top seed left, and I believe they'll be the lowest seed. But yeah, I mean that was it was an interesting game. Matty Berniers is going to be a stud, already is, and I hate to see him at the Kraken. They screwed that franchise over. They picked a lot of questionable contracts and a lot of just guys that aren't gonna they've already peaked.
Yeah,
and
I don't know how you do that though.
Well,
I don't know.
You either grab, unless it's a loaded team, like say they made the right pick on the Lightning, grabbing Yanni Gord, a kind of younger guy, reasonable contract, hasn't peaked yet.
Hockey name.
He's a good guy. Yeah. Same thing with the Avalanche. You grab kind of those teams have to expose players to the draft who are decent. But yeah, I mean, you get the Kraken. Their draft was it was questionable for many reasons. But anyway, back to the hockey. I mean, that sucked staying up till 1:00. Damn
right.
Just to see a loss, but their goaltender was hot.
He was, and I told Casey probably 5 minutes into the third, I said 2 goals is not going to win this game. 3 goals is going to win. One thing about their Tendy is he was making stops, but he was giving up a lot of rebounds, and he wasn't securing pucks, so that's fine and dandy for a shootout. But I was really hoping that we were going to get one in regulation get some cheap one, and we had opportunities, man. And
Even
Beniers,
overtime, we had so many opportunities in OT even.
Overtime is the announcers, and you were saying all game when it's 4-on-4.
3-on-3.
Well, yeah, but before that, when it was
Okay.
4-on-4 for the offsetting penalty, no, it wasn't offsetting, but when it was basically two penalties at the same time, when it was 4-on-4, the announcers were saying that, oh, this is the United States time with the speed, with the skill, and it wasn't shown in that 4-on-4. 3-on-3 that really came through because the Americans, us, really dominated that overtime period, and we just could not get the puck in the net, which is really disappointing. But man, that I don't know who to blame. I don't have anybody to blame for that, but it just hurts so bad that they scored with 40 some seconds left.
I would throw a little bit of blame on that one to the refs. Matt Nyes got hit with the high stick down low with $140 to 2 minutes left, something around there.
130, I think. It would have definitely been a PK for them for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, it would have put us at a 5-on-5
with an empty net.
Yeah. With an empty net, them being on the PK, penalty kill. But yeah, I mean, they blatantly missed that. I mean, he got nailed right in front of the net. The guy,
they missed
the back judge is right there staring at that, and yeah, he missed that one, and that, I mean, that's a huge problem to miss that one.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I think it was the end of regulation, or was it the end of overtime where there was the
trip,
the breakaway.
Yeah,
it wasn't. After looking at the replay, I don't think it should have been a penalty shot, but it definitely looked like it on live, and I was real pissed. And then I think he actually got tripped by the goalie.
The goalie came out for a poke check and clipped the legs.
Yeah. And I don't know. It was. I mean, I loved it. I loved watching all of it, but the minute they scored with 48 seconds left,
I knew it was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second they scored the first goal, but can we talk about how dirty that 5-hole goal was?
Yeah.
That little tic-tac-toe pass action.
Yeah.
That was absolutely filth. But, I mean, that's just, like, they're never going to forget about that. They're never going to forget about beating China 8-0. Like,
beating the ugly neighbor up north.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, they beat Canada. Canada got beat by the Swedes. But one thing I do want to clarify quick before we move on. 2018, I talked about how this is like the first time since the 80s. They actually didn't send NHL players from 2018. I completely forgot about that. I was too tunnel vision on this year. But that's 2 years in a row that we don't even advance to the semis. Disappointing, to say the least. I mean, if I was like a global, as a hockey fan, I don't even know quite how to formulate this, but as a hockey fan, I do think it's kind of cool that the whole world is good. Does that make sense? Like, obviously I want the Americans to win gold all the time, but I think it is cool that there's, besides Russia, honestly, Russia could need a dick, and we'll get to that. But I do think it's cool, like the Slovaks, the Swedes.
It's all about perspective.
Even Germany, man, they put up a fight against us.
But you got to think here, the only reason these other nations compete outside of the big three, Russia, America, and Canada, you throw the NHL players and allow them to go back to the Olympics, all of these other countries would just sniff farts. I mean, they would be god awful.
Yeah, well,
if we allowed the elite players to compete, but for some reason the NHL is a bunch of losers.
Well, yeah, you got like the Slovaks, for instance. They had Zdeno Chara, but
41, 42 now.
Yeah, who else?
Yeah, they've got a limited roster.
Yeah, so with NHL players, and I mean, it's really, really, really cool for me to see the college players, and it did end up being a lot better. It did end up being predominantly college predominantly strong, but a large majority of
70%
college,
probably.
yeah, college players opposed from just washed up NHL, KHL. I mean, KHL players got to play, but I don't know. It was fun, but also to see who the best of the best is, you put the best of the best out there.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, this is the Olympics. If you want to watch all these young college up-and-coming prospects, the IIHF World Juniors.
yeah, watch the juniors.
I love
Yeah.
the juniors, but they canceled it because they're weak, too.
Absolute pussies. That's how
Yeah,
it goes.
awful. I mean, that was heartbreaking this year. After watching us take the gold last year, Trevor Zegras and Cole Caulfield out there dominating, it's hard to see them cancel it this year. Even though our team was a little bit depleted, we lost a lot of studs to the NHL this year, but
Well,
we still would have competed.
reigning champs.
Yeah, got to defend it. I guess it carries over.
All right, let's talk about something that should be surprising to absolutely nobody. Russians are absolute complete scumbags once again. Camelia Valieva?
Kamila Valieva. I'm pretty sure.
Camila Valieva?
Kamila Valieva.
Camelia?
That Russian little girl figure skater. She's like 15.
Yeah, 15 years old. December 25, she was found with another word I can't pronounce.
Tremetazidine.
Trimetazidine. But anyways, it was found in her system, and basically that's a PED for the commission, and it's recognized as a PED because what it does is it's for like irregular heartbeats and heart disease problems like that. But what it does for people with not that is it increases blood flow and improves endurance. Now, what the IOC did, International Olympic Committee, one of their main points for allowing Russians to this Russian girl to still compete in figure skating is one of their main points is that she's a minor.
Yeah, they gave her the benefit of the doubt, essentially.
Which the problem with that is it's not just a detriment to her. They were saying that, oh, this is going to crush her career. Well, guess what? She's 15 years old. And I was reading an article earlier. It is going to crush her career. You know why? Because the Russian figure skater coach, or whatever the hell he is,
Yeah.
destroys these young girls. Every single year they have these girls that are young. The last one right now is in a freaking facility for anorexia because she won't eat and she won't drink water. The only thing she'll do is swish water around her mouth to get rid of the thirst. So she's 15. They feel bad for her. You know what? I feel bad for her a little bit too. But at the same time, get your ass out of the competition. And why the hell is Russia even allowed to compete? They're cheaters. It's documented at this point. And what they're doing is they're not letting there be a medal ceremony. So they're going to try to still see if there's a medal ceremony or to see who competes or who wins. And they may kick her out of the competition, but at this point, I mean, what are we doing? She tested positive. Now, what they said that she tested negative at the Olympics, or it's in Beijing, right?
Yeah.
In Beijing. Who gives a shit? You think that these people just start training 2 weeks before the Olympics? They've been trained. She's 15. She's been training since she's been 2 months old. They're breeding them. 2 months old, that's an exaggeration. It's a little bit of a hyperbole. But they've been training for months, years for this. So if they can get a little bit of leg up on the competition, they need to be out. I mean, there was a Russian countrywide plan to implement PEDs into their athletes to win. That's why they're the ROC, or it was like the Olympic Committee of Russia or something before.
I think it's Russian Olympic Committee.
Yeah, Putin's still at the ceremonies. if you really want to, you really, really, really want to make these, like, punish them, first off, you eliminate all Russian athletes. Second, if you want to still let them compete, make them run as individuals. I know that's not how the Olympics work. But don't let ROC, because what are they right now? Fourth in medal rankings?
No,
So
they're second.
okay, so they're second in medal rankings. They're not supposed to freaking be there. And they're second. And when you look up medal rankings on Google, they're second. So they're not supposed to be there. Oh, wait. It's the ROC. It's the Russian Olympic Committee. It's not Russia. That doesn't make any sense. And
Everybody still calls them Russia.
Right.
Nobody calls them the ROC except for the announcers.
Right. And we got Adam Rippon, who was a figure skater in 2018, I think.
Yeah.
I think he called them exactly what they are. He called them dirty cheaters. And he said, and I quote, "Dirty cheaters, and we are accommodating them," which is absolutely true. I mean, the IOC is doing nothing to stop them. They're doing nothing to deter them from doing what they're doing if they're going to let Camellia compete. I mean, why would they stop? It didn't stop them when they slapped on a stupid name like ROC on them. So I don't get it. And then this other, there was this headline. This was the Boston Global. Now, this was quoting other figure skaters. Not going to lie, I needed a subscription to view it, and I did not have one, so I could not go into the article. But this was the headline. The headline is, I quote, "She is a child, exclamation point, end quote. Former figure skaters speak out." That's the title. So I'm guessing that there's former figure skaters saying she's a child, stop shitting on her for this. Well, you have to understand that it's not necessarily going after her. It's going after the whole process of how they do things over there.
Yeah, at this point, she's the new poster child of what has happened. Not necessarily... I mean, it's not just targeting her individually. It's saying the whole Russian system has been flawed, and they keep getting away with it. And, I mean, don't want to make a statement here, but like a lot of things they do, they continue to just keep twisting it and keep getting by and sneaking by. It's good for them. I respect the hustle, but at the same point, I also think you're a piece of shit. But yeah, it's insane. They need to buckle down on them. Something more harsh, something more to push it through, and I think that is a complete ban of their athletes.
I mean, let's just make a sort of a far-fetched analogy real quick. Pete Rose bet on his own team. So he was betting that he was going to win, and he can't get into the Hall of Fame. He's banned from baseball.
Yeah. I think, honestly, if you did that today, they would look into it and be like, oh, wow, looking through your betting history or whatever. Yeah, they'd scroll through that and they'd be like, wow, this guy's got confidence. You know what? We'll let this slide. You always bet on yourself. Maybe you just don't bet in the future now that we know about it, and we'll let it slide.
Honestly, definitely ADHD, but a little side comment. I am all for athletes betting on themselves. And I don't care.
They do that internally anyway.
Right. So why not throw a little extra cheddar? Why not throw a game check on a money line? I mean, if you really want, if the fear is, oh, they're going to run up the score. First off, especially if it's pro sports, other teams stop them. Second off, let them bet on money line. Like,
I think the problem with it is then you have to have some sort of committee to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
And make sure they aren't betting for the other team and then choking it away, because that's so subjective to say, oh, you missed that shot, or you missed that putt, or that catch, or
I'm just saying,
everything else, and that's when it becomes a slippery slope.
If it's strictly,
you should be able to bet on yourself.
Yes, you definitely should. And it's not like, who's to say that, I mean, you could get away with it. If I was an NBA player and let's say I was a bench player, right? Let's say college, and I got in at the end of the game, there'd be no way to do this, but if I would yes, theoretically I could text my friend when I'm about to get in and say, bet that the other team's going to cover the spread. I'll just hold the ball, turn it over if I'm a scrub, and I'll let them recover it. But at the same time, that could easily happen anyways. There could be people with bookies completely not connected to them saying, bet on the other team. Why not let them bet that they're going to cover just not even cover the spread, just do money line. Why not let Joe Burrow bet that they're going to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, this is a kind of an interesting twist on it, but Evander Kane is a winger for the Sharks, just got moved over to the Oilers, or dropped onto waivers, and the Oilers picked him up. Yeah, he got caught betting on his games, and he was doing it through his wife half the time. His wife was doing it, and she well, ex-wife now, I'm pretty sure, but she exposed him for it. And a lot of the time he was betting on himself, but I mean, all it takes is one time to bet against yourself for it to become a question of, did you throw it?
Right.
So I get it, but I also think it's a crock.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are you going to do? Tell organizations they have to make a whole new committee that keeps an eye on all of these athletes' accounts or something?
Right.
I mean, then what? Then they're going to go to black market dealers and do stuff off the table. And
thing is, they already do. They
probably already do.
That's kind of like we'll let Mr. Funky Town handle NIL.
Funky Town can handle that. Yeah.
All right. To wrap up this Russian cheating thing in this episode, the last thing I'm going to say about this, obviously very horrible for the Olympics. I think it makes the Olympics look soft. One positive thing I can take out of this is when I was researching this and looking into what happened and what the drug was, every single news source was pretty much unified of what happened and how it's crap. And that's pretty rare now to find news sources from each side of the political aisle per se, or just views in general, to come together and have one basic consensus. Basically, every single one of them said it was bullshit. And
yeah, I remember last week when I said common enemies bring competing sides that are related together.
Right.
That's it. The Russians.
And yeah, exactly.
They did it.
I mean, they did it, and maybe it's a little bit smaller of a scale.
It won't last.
Maybe it's smaller of a scale than we thought it was, but I will say I think that's one victory. I mean, that's one thing that it's analogous. It's convenient that it's both Russian, but yeah. Well, I think that's all we have for sports for this episode. Like I said, this is episode 2. We will have 2 parts to this. Thank you guys so much if you got this far. Thank you to everyone that watched the first episode that has made it back to the second. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, throw some suggestions out there. If you want to hear us talk about anything, leave them in the comments, or anybody who listens, if we're being honest, probably has our numbers. So just hit us up. Let us know what you want us to talk about. And yeah, got anything else?
No, I mean, main goal of this is just to have fun. I mean, we have zero intention of having anything ginormous or any of that, but I mean, it would make it a lot more fun if there was a little bit of viewer
interaction,
and if we could give you guys something that you would like to listen to, and we will research it and we will talk about it as best as we can.
Yeah, and if you want to come on the show sometime, just give us a shout as well.
Yeah, this is Drop a Line. I'm Cooper.
And I'm Casey.
Thank you guys for listening.